Doomscrolling. The endless refreshing of senseless news or content. Social media platforms today, for example, TikTok, Instagram, especially Instagram Reels, or even here on YouTube, YouTube Shorts, are just designed to keep you engaged. You start watching one video which is actually useful for what you're working on right now, what you're looking into, which entertains you, and you get caught up hours later just having scrolled down endlessly into the void of the content algorithm. In the end, it often just leaves you empty, regretful, because you wasted so much time on these social media platforms while you wanted to do things which are either more productive or just make you feel better. I want to make a point in this video that breaking free of this bad habit is not merely a question of willpower or discipline or staying hard, but rather a question of poor hygiene, and from my point of view, it calls for the necessity of a proper system that helps you with this. So that's what I'm going to outline. Hey guys, welcome to Project Matthias. If this is your first video watching, on this channel I try to share a lot of the things I've learned in the last years, working in startup, trying to improve myself, looking a lot into self-improvement, and I try to deliver no bullshit content. I'm not gonna stretch videos, I'm not gonna put a lot of style into editing. I try to be as informative as possible and as brief as possible. So I hope you enjoy, super happy to get your feedback and further suggestions for videos. Let's dive right in and talk a bit about doom scrolling. Perfect, guys. So let's dive in. As said, doom scrolling is something I think that we all experienced in the past or still experience, and I think it's one of the main detriments to staying productive, staying happy, and staying mindful in our everyday life. So I think the number one mistake that people make is actually poor hygiene. As said in the intro, what worked for me was not the discipline, the okay, I'm not gonna look at my phone, I'm not gonna scroll through YouTube, Instagram, etc. What actually worked well is to build a system which just prevents this altogether or makes it less rewarding. So the main principle that I looked into was the fact that obviously as humans we are constantly hardwired to scan our environments. This probably goes back to our ancestral times where it was really important to see the fast line, whatever, approaching, and protect yourself, notify your mates, whatever. And today, actually, the deep focus bouts where you think cognitively for a long time, where you go deep into work, are much more valuable. And even when you try to stay mindful, watching long form content or focusing on something and actually finishing it can be much more rewarding, and you don't feel as drained afterwards, right? So in this case, this actually is detrimental to us and probably for a lot of you guys, and me included, to our mental health as well. And I want to talk a bit about quick fixes and tools that help me a lot to mitigate this. I think if you take one thing away from this video, are these are the quick fixes that you need to think about. So when you have your phone, you need to turn all your notifications off. And I mean all. Like you can, I think you can have maybe WhatsApp or calls, right? But I would even suggest to turn WhatsApp notifications off. Just let people know that if it's urgent, they can call you. And if they call you, you can still have notifications on, right? A lot of, especially on iPhone, I think it's quite easy to do. On Android, you can just Google it. I also did it for my phone, but it probably depends on your Android version and your phone. But it's pretty trivial. And what that does is basically it takes away this friction to not look at your phone anymore. Instead of thinking about and seeing, oh my gosh, what happened? Maybe this new Instagram DM, whatever. Um, there's none of this altogether. You need to take the conscious effort to go on the app that drains you mentally, that drains you emotionally at times. Go on YouTube, etc. And for me, if I don't have a reason to go on YouTube, it's always bundled to some trigger. So you take away this huge trigger, which is, I think, a huge one. And secondly, turning off notifications next to apps. So whenever you see an app, there's the kind of small circle next to it, a 1, a 5, whatever, depending on the number of notifications. It just shows that. And this, I think, is horrible in terms of staying away from it, right? I think it's like kind of this reward. You never know which kind of notification it is without clicking on it. And I think it makes it very, very tough to stay away from it, right? And the best thing you can do is turn these off. These just pull you into apps you don't want to use at the time. And the best thing, honestly, is to quit apps altogether. And what I mean by that is not going analog and not using a phone anymore, but rather try to find, and I'm going to talk about one tool which is great for Android and iOS, try to find a system that works for you where you use your phone just by searching, and not without the icons. I think icons also release dopamine. They're super colorful, it's great design, the notifications and so on. When you open your phone, if possible, your landing page should not be a trigger to you. Should not show Instagram, should not show YouTube. I think this will already reduce your usage automatically by a few percent, maybe even up to 40 or 50%. I've experienced that in the past. And lastly, I think one that people, whenever I have it, I think people look at me odd, because gray mode, or just a gray setting in terms of color on your phone, I think is one of the easiest hacks. The phone is just less fun, right? And people who never did it are like, what the fuck? How can you do this? I got used to it, and you can still watch videos and so on. But I think the average time you spend on your phone and kind of how it keeps you awake is much lower, and it also prevents you at times from scrolling in the night, right, and getting super awake and activated and so on, which is great for your sleep quality as well. I think I said, if you take one thing away and do one thing, look at this slide, look at the different recommendations, and try to implement this in your life as sustainably as possible. There's another huge one. Just this is actually a bit related to productivity in general, but your phone location and where you actually locate your phone, laptop, etc., has a huge benefit, and you think about it passively, and that's due to the fast dopamine that I talked about. Keeping your phone even out of the room that you're working in when you want to work and you want to prevent this doom scrolling, or just going on Instagram quickly, is the best thing you can do. It's out of your sight, out of your mind, kind of, right? So in this study conducted at the University of Austin, Texas, these researchers actually looked at the performance changes induced by the phone location, and they could show that the cognitive memory and also the fluid intelligence was significantly higher when it was out of the room, slightly higher when it was in your bag or in your pocket, and the lowest one was actually on your desk, right? And also the phone time will be significantly higher if you keep your phone on the desk, right? So the same as always, try to also physically separate yourself from the source of your demise, right? One thing that works really well for me, I'm not sponsored or so, but I use the Remarkable tablet, for example. There are a lot of different variants. You can also use a Kindle, whatever, to read articles and to read books, because what I experienced, obviously you can read everything on your laptop, on your phone, but it again is a device which can lead you down this funnel of doom scrolling. And there are a lot of devices nowadays, also kind of the nothing phone and so on, which are deliberately reduced in design to prevent this doom scrolling and to, in the end, make you feel more mindful, feel more happy, which we all want, right? And I'm gonna talk about two of my favorite tools, which firstly is Minimalist Phone. This is basically what I talked about, right? As you can see on the right hand side, there are two features that I just love. You can modify your landing page to literally just show text, 3 or 4 top apps that you need to use, right? And the free, you can use this for free. I think there are just a few limitations, but for me it worked completely fine on the free version. Um, you can use this. It's great because you open your phone. There's no opportunity to click on something which shows a notification. You need to deliberately make the effort. And I mean, it sounds like a joke, but this minimum effort is sometimes enough to prevent you from doom scrolling, right? And to start even the funnel. And on the right hand side, you can also see it's actually limiting the time that you spend on specific apps, which is honestly also great. You can limit your time on 10 minutes a day, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever works for you. And I think for this, what really worked well for me is to take a time, look at the time I'm actually spending on it over a week on average, and reduce this by, 10% a day or something. Again, it's not the best way to go completely cold. But it depends on how severely it blocks you. If it completely blocks your life, it might be easier for you. And there are some applications where I do it. I'm gonna talk about one application I use, which is exactly there for this reason, or for this cause. But in general, small changes which are sustainable will help you a lot here to just get away from this. Again, this prevents all notifications. It's had very easy blockers and great UX, and the landing page is set that prevents this fast dopamine. So the other tool I want to plug here, and I said this video is not sponsored or anything, I really don't care. These tools I just really loved and they really help me to reduce my time on any kind of platform I don't want to spend time on, frankly, is the cold turkey blocker. Um, the cold turkey blocker is a tool which I think you can download for free. It has some limited features. What I really like about this is not bullshit SaaS. It's a once a lifetime payment, and I think it's $30 or something, or $40, which is very much worth it, frankly. Um, and what this does is it allows you to create different lists or different block lists where you can automatically filter on keywords. So, for example, I like to play chess online, and sometimes it just, attention switching breaks your focus. It has a huge, is hugely detrimental to the quality of work you can actually output at a certain time. So blocking this altogether is great. You can block specific websites, and as you can see on the right hand side, I have 3 modes. One of the modes is the distractions mode, which is just everything I want to prevent, right? If there's any page, any topic you don't want to look at while you're on your laptop, just use this. Then there's the morning focus. I don't limit myself. I use social media. I watch YouTube Shorts at times, but what I really try to prevent is in the periods of the day where I want to be productive. It just makes me happier if I don't spend time there. And there again, in general, these small changes, incremental changes are important and work well. But with this has been the best for me, honestly. I can just focus in the morning for 2 to 4 hours and get things done without, going down the rabbit hole and getting lost in LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, right? And lastly, there's this silence mode that I introduced, which again is something I deliberately do. I haven't done this in the past so much, but if you have a mode again where you just want to have where it should be a continuous block, not a schedule block like the morning focus, which for me is from I think 5 or 6 a.m. to 12 right now, or 11. The silence mode you can just turn on if you realize, holy shit, I need to stay away from social media for some time, even with throughout the day, and this works really well for me. I hope this is helpful for you, and I try to keep it very short and concise. These are kind of the quick fixes. I'm very happy to go into detail more in upcoming videos. I think this is all related to productivity, and obviously for me, productivity is a very important metric. But in the end, it's also about being mindful and being more happy, right? And I think everybody can relate. The problem with doom scrolling is not necessarily that you're less productive, but you just feel like shit afterwards, and you cannot focus because you got all this quick dopamine, and whatever task is in front of you, even if the task is watching a movie, it just doesn't feel as rewarding as the short-term dopamine you just received. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you would like to see next. I'm very happy to go into detail into these things and share my experiences there. Be sure to subscribe and like, and see you in the next one. Bye bye, guys.